Today I find myself in Peebles to have a look at the 600-yard long tunnel which runs through South Park Hill on the western side of the town. Now this is literally at the western side of the town because right behind me is the park. You can still hear people in there and everything else, so it gives you an idea of just how close to the town this place is. It's a good tunnel and there's some interesting things to show you inside, so let's have a look. Now when you first step into the tunnel, there's a lot of water dripping down. Now this tunnel is generally quite dry apart from this one point. You can see some spalling on the left hand side of the brickwork. And to begin with, the tunnel curves for the first 150 yards, so you can't see light at the other end. So the lining of this tunnel is quite interesting. If you look at the lower half of the tunnel, it's been lined in masonry, and the top of the tunnel is lined with brick. Now this symmetry runs right the way through the tunnel from start to finish, apart from a few sections near the portals where it's all brick. For the most part this tunnel is very dry, but like I say, some parts do suffer from water ingress, which has led to the spalling brickwork that you can see at this point. Now there are plans to turn this tunnel into a footpath at some point, so presumably anything like this will be tidied up after the conversion has taken place. After walking the curved section, you can see that straight ahead there is light at the end of the tunnel, but that light at this point is about 450 yards away. So even though we've only come a short distance in and we can see the end, that end is actually deceptively far. That is the curve that we came in from, so you can just see some light sneaking around the bend there. Now this point here is probably the most interesting part of the tunnel. Most tunnels, as you know, are full of refuges, so you can stand to one side when trains pass through. Now this tunnel has none of them. I'm not sure why that's the case, possibly as a cost-cutting measure they weren't installed, but there is one small side passage in this tunnel. Now this links up, if you look at the top there is a square of brickwork that looks a little different from the rest. Now I believe this was once the site of a construction shaft which has now been sealed. And this here, at this point we're about the closest we are to the River Tweed, about 20 yards. So the tunnel through there would have taken you out to the river, so that when we were building this place they could easily transport material out of the tunnel, thus speeding up the construction process. Now that has been backfilled now, but I will give you a quick tour of that small side tunnel. Now this is what the inside of this passage looks like. As you can see, it's been backfilled there. This would have gone on for about 20 yards and emerged at the River Tweed, so they could have easily taken material out of the tunnel during construction. Now, unlike the rest of the tunnel, this is unlined. These bits are quite sharp, quite unpleasant, so I'm trying to make sure I don't move around too much in case I smash my head off the top, which could be quite painful. Now, this room also is quite strange because there are used condoms lying around, so for some reason people thought it would be fun to come here and, you know, do it. But why you would choose to do it in a dank place like this, I have no idea, but obviously somebody thought it was fun. So now about 2/3 of the way through the tunnel, and at this point plenty of water is running down the walls. If I take the torchlight away, you can see that the water has created a nice effect on the walls with the portal light setting it off. And we are getting close to the end, although there is still some distance to walk. Perhaps not as obviously located as the other shaft, there does appear to be signs of one here. If you look up at that point there, you can see a lot of water dripping down and a bit of a support. And this part of the tunnel is quite wet, which would indicate there is a natural sump in the ground at that point, letting the water in. So I think this is probably the site of the other construction shaft used to build this tunnel. So that was the Neidpath Tunnel, all 600 yards of it, and it has this brilliant horseshoe profile to it to withstand the ground forces from above. And apparently during World War II it was used to store the Royal Train, although there is some doubt over that particular theory, because if the train was stolen here there would be no way the line could continue to operate, so I don't think that actually happened.